Monster Tech has sponsored a giveaway on my channel. Stay tuned for details on how to enter. As I review my own comments and the comment sections of other YouTubers, there is a common thread with the more negative perspectives in respect to Star Citizen. This can generally be summed up with the following statement. 10 years later, and it's not even playable! And yes, Star Citizen is still in alpha all these years later, so I don't fault the skeptics. I've tried to get friends of my own to play the game, and I quickly realized that I sound like a conspiracy theorist or a cultist. The perspective that people have on the outside is wildly different to those of us on the inside. I think it is fair to say, though, that most people not already playing the game will find themselves leaning more towards the sentiment previously described. Star Citizen will have been a phrase brought up in casual conversation to talk about other dead projects, scams, or money sinks. That would be enough to dissuade most people from looking any further. And so my goal for this video is to give an honest perspective on the overall playability of the game. I want to provide context for how much you can do in the game, how progression works, and how much of an impact bugs and lack of optimization affect the player experience. Starting this off, what is the new player experience like? Well, in a word, not great. I remember my own first time in the verse many years ago. I had never played any kind of flight sim before, aside from the OG Microsoft Flight Simulator in elementary school during the time I was supposed to be doing classwork. Then it was a miracle to get the plane off the ground, let alone do any maneuvers. I think this is relevant to Star Citizen because for many, it is going to be the first time they have ever played anything like this. I was a player scared off by the complexity of other flight sims, but Star Citizen seemed to be a bit more manageable, and the allure of flying like my childhood hero Luke Skywalker was irresistible. Many other players will find themselves initially frustrated, as I was, by the difficulty of this game. Add on to this that there really is no kind of tutorial worth mentioning built in. There are fantastic videos on YouTube on how to start off, including ones from yours truly, but most people's initial response is not to look for a tutorial on how to play a game. We've been programmed by so many other games to rely on tutorial levels, something that's built in. And you can always identify the new players in a server when they ask things like, how do I get in my ship? How do I get to my ship? How do I get out of bed? And these players often find themselves confronted with a mixed set of responses from helpful to malicious. In my case, I generally try to answer their immediate question and direct them to my own video, since I already put in a lot of work breaking it down. But I do also see on occasion people suggesting that Alt F4 is the interact key. By the way, the actual interact key is F. If you're ever lost on what to do, try hitting F and see if any contextual options come up. That's not just people saying respect in chat. And frankly, new players are also the ones most likely to suffer due to bugs. I came to this realization after I managed to convince one of my friends to join me in the verse, and he was drawn to playstyles that were hindered by bugs. More specifically, he wanted to rock mine. I'm sure any veteran players are chuckling to themselves remembering how buggy rock mining was when it first came out. Frankly, it may still be, as I've avoided it since then. My friend, while ignorant to this fact, assumed that everything was on the table for a good experience. It was then that I realized how my own playstyle had been molded somewhat by these bugs. There were gameplay loops that I avoided because I knew odds of success were low. New players don't have this experience level, and so they are primed to head straight into bugs. They then further identify themselves to the server by asking why something isn't working right. Now for veteran players, Star Citizen has made great strides recently in terms of stability. There are still bugs that are present, and these can cause issues, but veteran players are more likely to fall victim to stability issues rather than bugs. Things like 30K and other kinds of crashes. There was a period not too long ago when 30Ks were a very frequent occurrence. To the uninitiated, a 30K is an umbrella term that refers to a large group of bugs that cause a server crash. This group has been worked on and improved significantly, and they are now much less frequent. Not too long ago, I would struggle to get an hour of gameplay in without running into a crash. Now, I personally average 1 crash per month, up to 1 crash per 2 weeks. That is a very significant improvement, especially in the context that the most recent Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, I get about 3 crashes a week. In fact, I would go so far as to say that in the most recent patches, stability is not something that impedes my gameplay. So if anyone is watching this and the last time they played was in 3.16, Jump on in, the water's warm. But still, none of this really paints a great picture of Star Citizen. Framing something in terms of how bad it isn't says nothing about how good it actually is. I certainly haven't presented anything that would convince someone on the fence that there is value in playing. So what does Star Citizen offer that you can't get anywhere else? Well, Star Citizen, as of right now, has a beautiful star system to explore. One of the great tragedies with so many of us gamers is that we're so used to min-maxing everything that we rarely take time to stop and look around. And if you fail to do that in Star Citizen, you are really missing out. But if you do manage to numb yourself to these amazing vistas, Star Citizen does still offer hours and hours of content. Do you want to storm bunkers as a gunslinging mercenary? We've done this extensively as an org, and while yet in its fledgling state, Star Citizen offers pretty in-depth FPS experiences. How about mining rare and exotic materials? You can turn hefty profits doing rock mining, hand mining, prospector mining, crack it down, load it up, refine it, sell it, stonks. You can even just do Euro Truck Simulator set in the distant future. Buy and sell goods, explore different ports, plan routes. Or want to get hyped for the next season of The Mandalorian? Do some bounty hunting. In fact, you can do cave bounties, ship combat bounties, you can track down players, capture fugitives, and set traps at security outposts. Maybe you want to see what Dom Toretto would be doing 500 years in the future. Racing is getting a whole new level of integration and courses are popping up all over Stanton. Or maybe you really just want to break bad. You can buy and sell drugs, you can walk the wrong side of the law. All of this is possible and integrates with a reputation system that rewards you for grinding out certain activities. You can do all of this and more in Star Citizen. There are a number of gameplay loops and careers that you can do today, and there are plenty more coming down the pipeline. I think the biggest mistake people make when pointing out that the game is still in alpha is assuming that means there isn't a game. There definitely is. In fact, I want to go on record saying that Star Citizen today has more content than the majority of AAA titles releasing otherwise. And that's just the things that are built in. So much of Star Citizen really comes alive when you add in other people. Multi-crew combat, mining, raiding. It is literally an endless list of things you can do as a group of friends. And, speaking of playing as a group, Star Citizen has massive organized server events where you can take on capital ships and legions of enemy fighters. You can take back Orison. And you can have a full-on drug war between would-be dealers and the civilian police. You can fight alongside the UEE military against xenocidal factions. The server events in Star Citizen are truly on another level. They are a ton of fun and add even more variety into the mix. They're challenging and offer gameplay for players of all kinds to work together collaboratively or pit them against each other, and it will only get better from here. So, is Star Citizen playable? Yeah. It's not a perfect experience, and bugs do still exist. But is there a game that gets released today that doesn't have these issues? At least Star Citizen acknowledges them. In fact, now is a great time to jump in, probably better than any other time. With 3.18, everyone is starting from scratch. Just like in Tarkov or COD when you prestige, Star Citizen really is offering experiences that you just won't get anywhere else. And for the little kid inside that always wanted to explore the stars like Luke Skywalker or Han Solo, it's the game you've been waiting for. And if you're looking for an org to join, Odd Job Entertainment is always recruiting. See you in the verse. And that, my friends, brings us to the Grow the Channel giveaway, sponsored by Monster Tech. They make excellent products for Sims of all kinds, and I could not be happier with the chair that I got from them. And they built it custom order for me, and they were great to work with as a customer. The joysticks are a much more robust version of the joystick mounts that I made myself on this channel several years ago at this point. But man, I seriously just cannot say enough nice things about Monster Tech, and I'm really happy that they're sponsoring this giveaway because it gives me an opportunity to give back to you guys. I've had an amazing outpouring of support on my recent videos and with the subscribers going up, and I just I really find myself tripping over words every time I talk about it. You guys have really had a pretty big impact. So to be able to give back to you is really big for me. If you want a chance to win a set of chair or desk mounts from Monster Tech, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel and comment on any of my videos, leaving the secret word in your comment. And today's secret word is the name of my childhood hero. And also tell me yours. I want to know who we were looking up to as kids and who we wanted to grow up to be like. But aside from that, like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. Let me know what you think. Let's have a conversation down below. And until next time, this is Odd Job Entertainment, signing off.